Welcome to the 2% Brief. Gold is above $4,000 an ounce. Silver is above $60 an ounce. And platinum is sitting around $1,600. So here's the question. Is platinum cheap? Or is platinum cheap for a reason? Because if gold is the fear trade and silver is the momentum trade, then platinum may be the forgotten value trade. And that matters, because the best opportunities are not always found in the metal everybody is already talking about. Sometimes they are found in the metal still standing quietly in the corner. So in this video, I want to look at three things. 1, why platinum looks cheap. 2, why it has been ignored. And 3, why, especially if you are in the UK or Europe, the way you buy platinum matters almost as much as the price itself. But before we get into it, please like the video, subscribe to the 2% Brief, and press the hype button if YouTube gives you that option. And make sure you watch the videos at the end, especially last weekend's weekly update, because this platinum story fits into the bigger picture. Gold, silver, the dollar, bonds, inflation, and the pressure building underneath the surface of the economy. Now, let us start with a simple comparison. Gold is over $4,000. Platinum is around $1,600. That means platinum is trading at roughly 39% of the gold price. Put another way, 1 ounce of gold buys more than 2.5 ounces of platinum. That should make people stop and think, because platinum was not always the poor relation. For long periods, platinum traded near gold and sometimes above gold. That made sense. It is rare, it's difficult to mine, it is heavily dependent on South Africa, it has major industrial uses, and it's a precious metal. Yet today, gold has run miles ahead. So the first punchline is this. If gold is being priced for fear, platinum is still being priced for doubt. And that is the reason why it interests me. Gold has the best story in the room. Gold has central banks. Gold has currency fear. Gold has debt. Gold has geopolitical risk. Gold has the loss of trust story. People understand why gold matters. Silver has a different story. Silver has the monetary angle, the industrial angle, the solar angle, the supply angle, and the speculative angle. That is why silver can suddenly move violently. But platinum has not had the same excitement. It does not have the emotional following of gold. It does not have the retail army of silver. And it does not have the headline appeal of Bitcoin for sure. It is rare, it is useful, it is valuable, but it is not loved. And that is exactly why I think it deserves attention, because markets do not just price reality, they price attention. And right now, platinum has not had enough attention. But here is the interesting part. Platinum has already shown us it can move. Earlier this year, platinum ran up close to $2,700 an ounce, before fading back towards the 1,600 area. That is important because it tells us this is not a dead market. It tells us that when the market notices supply pressure, platinum can move quickly. So when people say, why bother with platinum? My answer is simple. Because we've already seen what can happen when the market wakes up. The question is whether it wakes up again. Now, why do I like platinum? Well, first, relative value. If gold is above $4,000 and platinum is around $1,600, the gap has become hard to ignore. That does not mean gold has to fall, and it does not mean platinum has to rise tomorrow. But it does mean that if the precious metals bull market continues, investors may eventually start looking for what has been left behind. And that is how these markets often work. First, the obvious metal moves. Then the next metal moves. Then money goes hunting for value. Gold has moved. Silver has moved. Platinum may still be waiting for broader attention. Second, supply. This is not a market drowning in surplus metal. The World Platinum Investment Council has forecast another platinum deficit in 2026, with supply expected to fall short of demand by around 297,000 ounces. That's not a trivial number. A cheap metal with weak demand is one thing. A cheap metal with a supply deficit is much more interesting, because then the market does not need perfection. It just needs perception to change. And third, platinum has more than one possible trigger. It can benefit from supply disruption. It can benefit from substitution away from palladium in catalytic converters. And it can benefit if gold becomes so expensive that jewelry buyers start looking for alternatives. It can benefit from hydrogen and fuel cell demand over the longer term, and it can benefit if investors ask one very simple question. Gold is above $4,000. Why is platinum still around $1,600? That question alone could bring attention back. And in markets, attention matters. But let us be careful. This is not a pump piece. Platinum has real risks. It is more industrial than gold. It is more economically sensitive. If global growth weakens, platinum can suffer. If vehicle demand weakens, platinum can suffer. If the hydrogen story takes longer than expected, platinum can suffer. And if investors continue to ignore it, platinum can stay cheap for longer than people expect. That is the brutal truth about value trades. Cheap does not mean safe. Cheap does not mean immediate. Cheap does not mean the market has to agree with you next week. Sometimes an asset can look cheap for months, sometimes for years. So the real question is not simply, is platinum cheap? The real question is, what would make the market care? And that is why gold and silver matter. If gold and silver are telling us that investors are moving back into precious metals, then platinum may be the forgotten part of that story. Gold is already shouting. Silver is starting to shout again. Platinum is still whispering. But sometimes the money is made by hearing the whisper before everyone else hears the shout. Now, there is a very important practical point here, especially for viewers in the United Kingdom and Europe. Platinum may look cheap on the screen, but that does not automatically mean physical platinum is cheap in your hand. In the UK, qualifying investment gold is VAT-free, VAT, value-added tax. But physical platinum coins and bars are generally subject to VAT. That is a major difference. Because if you buy physical platinum, you may have the dealer premium, the spread, and then VAT on top, which currently is 20%. That creates a much higher hurdle before you are actually in profit. And this is where gold has a very clear advantage. Gold has the cleaner tax treatment for many UK investors. Some UK legal tender coins may also be capital gains tax free for UK residents. Platinum does not have that same advantage. So when I say platinum looks cheap, I'm talking about the metal price. I'm talking about the relative value case. I'm not saying every physical platinum product is automatically a bargain once VAT, premium, and spread are included. That distinction matters, because the price you see is not always the price you live with. And that's the bit many people miss. They compare spot prices and they say platinum is cheap. But the real question is, how are you getting exposure? Physical matter? An ETC? A fund? A vaulted structure? A mining share? Each one has different costs, different risks, and different tax treatment. So do not just ask, do I like platinum? Ask, what's the cleanest way to get exposure and what's the real cost? And that is where a lot of investors either protect themselves or make a very expensive mistake. Now, let's bring this back to the bigger picture. Why should you care? Because if the precious metals cycle broadens, platinum may be one of the few major metals that still looks overlooked. Gold is the fear trade, silver is the momentum trade, platinum is the forgotten value trade. Now, that does not make it better than gold. Gold is still the core monetary metal. That does not make it more explosive than silver. Silver has the bigger momentum personality. But platinum offers something different. It offers scarcity. It offers a supply deficit. It offers relative value. And most importantly, it offers neglect. And neglect matters, because markets often reprice what they have ignored. Not always, not necessarily on our timetable, but when they do, the move can be fast. That is why I am interested in platinum. Not because it's fashionable, not because it's risk-free, not because it has already run away. I like it because it's not yet had the full crowd behind it. And if gold remains strong and silver remains strong, I think more investors will eventually ask why platinum is still being treated like the poor relation. The market does not need to fall in love with platinum. It only needs to stop ignoring it. That is a much lower bar. So my view is simple. Platinum deserves a place on the watch list. Not as a blind purchase, not as a guaranteed winner, but as a serious metal that may be mispriced if the precious metals cycle continues to broaden. So do not ignore it, because sometimes the most interesting opportunity is not the one already on the front page. It's the one still standing quietly in the corner. And by the time the crowd notices it, the question may no longer be, why would anyone buy platinum? The question may be, why did so many people ignore it for so long? Now, if you want the wider weekly picture behind this, gold, silver, oil, Bitcoin, the dollar, bonds, and the macro pressure points, make sure you watch last weekend's weekly update, which should appear on the screen at the end. And if you want the deeper version of this analysis, join the 2% brief on Substack. That is where I go beyond the public videos and set out the broader weekly view for members, including the risks, the charts, the pressure points, and what I'm watching next. The link is in the description and comments section below. But before you go, let me know in the comments, do you think platinum is genuinely cheap? Or is it cheap for a reason? Because this is one of those metals where the answer is not obvious. And that is exactly what makes it worth watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the 2% brief, press the hype button if it's available, watch the videos on screen now, especially last weekend's weekly update. Thank you for watching. I look forward to reading your comments.